Welcome to the Kop TV, the voice of football's most famous stand.
Yes, good evening. Another time that we haven't won at home. Another occasion where we have bottled it to a bottom six team. Another occasion where we haven't scored at home. Big questions to be asked. But of course, you are watching the Kop TV, the voice of football's most famous stand, with myself at AGT. Really not good enough. Abysmal, awful, shocking. No heart, no passion, no desire. I don't know what it is with our mental incapability to score at home against teams that literally will put 11 behind the ball. I just don't understand it. Awful. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking. Hard to think anything positive after a victory. After a loss like that. Really is abysmal. Shocking. Absolutely shocking. Awful. Darren Whelan, what is your headline for tonight, mate?
I thought it would have been saying a lot better and a bit more upbeat, Alex. But I suppose seagulls kill live birds, don't they? We were lifeless tonight, awful. Just so poor, really poor. It's reminiscent of West Brom at home, Burnley at home, same thing. A lot of sideway passing, a lot of possession. Looked okay, I suppose, defensively tonight. Weren't too bad when you look at, okay, we gave the goal away, did one or two chances after it. But the final third of the pitch, we've struggled again tonight, and it's a big downfall. It's again another game at home where we don't score. And it's a big psychological barrier at the moment, Alex. I remember it was last season, I think November last season. We beat Brighton 2-1 at home. Alisson was sent off, and we just about beat them. It was it was one of those games that we probably got away with the 3 points. And earlier that day, Man City went to Newcastle, drew 2-2, and I think we went 11 or 12 clear that day. And that was the day where I said, this is where we're going to do it now. We've gone too much ahead. We've too much resilience. We're showing title-winning capabilities, and City weren't really. And it's looking that way now this season with us. We're not showing it, and City are. And it's mad because how ironic is it? We play Brighton at home this season, and I think tonight is the night where we've really ruled ourselves out. Whatever hope we had coming into today, it was nothing other than a must win, especially after City's result earlier. So it's hugely disappointing all around.
Yeah, Welford waiting in backstage there. Give us your headline, mate, after another abysmal performance from Liverpool. One of the worst I've ever seen, to be honest. It really was shocking. What's your headline?
Yeah, I can't even give it a headline. Liverpool out of the title race or something. That was so bad, honest to God. I just give up. It's so easy. I think you could put your life on it, what everyone's going to do now. It's so easy to come to Anfield and win now. I don't think you'd ever hear that. You can't even, there's no excuses for that at all tonight. You can't start saying, oh, we've got a keeper in, a young lad in there. That was awful. No one on that pitch can get higher than like a 5 for me tonight. It's just an absolute joke. Awful performance. And yeah, well out of that now. We'll get tonked by them on Saturday. So yeah, just give up with it, mate.
Let's talk about the lineup reaction then, lads. I mean, the team sheets come out, and again, very, very kind of second-rate team. I mean, Henderson and Nat Phillips played, which I guess was pretty predictable considering the fact that Kabak and Davis only came in the other day. But Shaqiri was poor. What did you make of the actual starting lineup, Darren?
Well, it was probably a stronger lineup than Sunday because we had Firmino up front, which we hadn't got Sunday. Origi was left out, and we had Shaqiri. So I don't think there would have been too many eyebrows raised at that. I mean, I don't think a lot of us expected Davies and Kabak to start. We know Klopp. We know how he likes to implement and integrate players. He's not going to bring them in 2 days after unless we are desperately needing them. But I mean, if it's not broke, don't fix it. I thought defensively on Thursday away to Spurs, on Sunday away at West Ham, we were sound, and I think tonight was all about the 3 points and getting through the game with no other new injury worries or that. We weren't going to obviously rest or give a chance to Mane. We know Matip, Van Dijk, Gomez are out. Fabinho as well as out. He wasn't going to be risked tonight, so not overly surprised. I mean, you look at our bench tonight; it was so weakened. There's no like for like players. it's just fuming tonight. Really, really poor. No excuses. Don't think you can blame the keeper because Kelleher had very little to do really. Just probably could see it coming after half an hour. To be honest, I didn't think we were still going to lose it, but shocked is gobsmacked. Is probably a better word for it. Awful, but we can't blame the starting lineup. You know what? We're better than them. With the experience, title-winning team, confidence was somewhat high. So I mean, who do you blame? You know what I mean? We are very lethargic, slow, painful to watch, and very lifeless. And
and that's what happens when you demonstrate all those things in a home game in the league. Shocking. Welford, let's talk about the first half. 0 shots on target from Liverpool, 1 shot on target from Brighton at the end of the first half. I mean, at what minute, Welford, did you look at that game and go, I know what's going to happen here?
It's like first 15 minutes. I think Salah looked all right the first 5 minutes. We had like 2 decent runs in behind and should have scored.
Salah with a great chance inside the second minute.
Yeah, you could just tell, especially with a team like Brighton, who we know do like to defend. They've got they always play 5 at the back mainly. We know over the past how they play the play style, and over the past couple of weeks you've seen West Brom do it, you've seen Burnley do it, and they both had results at Anfield, and it's just so easy. We've got no one on that pitch who can open a pass, and we've been saying over the past 18 months, Thiago's the man who could pick a pass and break these teams down. Well, he clearly hasn't showed that over the past couple of weeks when we faced up against it, like we knew he would, and now coming to Anfield isn't more of a challenge, it's more of an ease now. It's disappointing if you don't go away from Anfield with at least a point, because it's so easy now. And to be fair, the thing that's going to really annoy me is we'll probably beat City by like a couple of goals on Saturday, because City they'll come out pressures. Yeah, might go 1 goal down at least, but I think for me on Saturday it's going to be a lot easier than it is today, because when people come and attack us, there's so much gaps behind to play our attacking football, like shown at West Ham. When you come and attack us, or off a set piece, our counter attack is so good. But when teams sit back, it was just shambles day, and you can't even blame anyone. You can't blame a chance missed. Like maybe Salah could have scored one early on, but it's a joke. And every time we come up against the bottom 10 now, you know it's going to be a boring game, and we'll be lucky to get a point, not even get beat sometimes. It's just a joke for me, and I just can't believe being beat yet again.
Yeah, summed it up well. Darren Theo says, it all goes back to when Jota got injured in a game he shouldn't have played in. With Jota, we probably would have beat Brighton, Burnley, etc. He brings so much energy to that front line. Also, Luke Brandon saying the kids speak in facts, talking about Welford. Darren, what do you make of Theo's point about how we have missed desperately Diogo Jota after that stupid injury against Midtjylland?
Well, the Kop kid Theo was spot on, to be honest with you, because I've always said it, and I said it last season, that we need someone up there to keep the front three on their toes. Competition needs to be stern, needs to be more rife and stiff, and it hasn't been. I mean, week in, week out, season in, season out, we rely heavily on the front three. We seen Bobby and Mane missing on Sunday, and Salah produced the goods. But if he wasn't, who else was going to do it? So we need competition, and we need it as soon as possible. Origi's a big drop off. He's still living on coming on before and getting goals, making that contribution, even getting assists, or coming on, being more mobile and having energy. Of late, we've seen none of that. I mean, Robertson turns into the box earlier on, he takes it off him, and then what seemed to be a good chance came out. Nothing. He's just shot with confidence. Do we blame him? Don't we blame him? I don't know. I mean, he gets very little game time. When he comes on, there's huge pressure for him to deliver. He strived on that the season before last, and he hasn't lived up to it. I mean, last season, the first game of the season, he started at Norwich, he got a goal. He contributed to a few goals after that, but he's done nothing for us. Origi gave nothing. Minamino wasn't getting a chance. We've seen him going on loan. Shaqiri is... I mean, he's probably better behind the front three or the front two than he is. He's probably better in there where he just sits behind them and he's creative. He's pinging balls around. He's not really a goal scorer or someone that you can get up front and is going to be expected to beat players and take them one-on-one, especially Brighton. They're tall, they're physical, they're well organised, they're well drilled. They were very, very, very disciplined as well tonight. Look, Jota, he came in, he was coming on in games, he was scoring, he was starting games, he was scoring, he was contributing. He pulled the goal away at Brighton earlier this season out and nothing for us when he come on. So he's badly missed. It's a good point, Theo, and we could do it probably one other Jota on top of him. I've seen pictures today, he's back training, so hopefully sooner he comes back, the better. But it's terrible, isn't it?
Terrible, lackluster performance from Liverpool tonight. Just no tempo going forward in the final third. Too predictable. And to be fair, listen, we have to say it. Brighton were excellent. Liverpool obviously definitely struggle against low block sides. No game changers on the bench really to come on for us and change it. Jota obviously a huge loss. Keller had a good game, but I think it's unfair to single out a player. But there is a golfing class between some players in the squad, and I think often, you know, the fresh legs off the bench don't actually do any better than the ones they've replaced. I mean, you know, Origi and Ox poor tonight when they came on. It's easy to have an opinion here, and you know, the squad have given us so much, but how can we get back to how it was before? I'm going to bring in a new member to the Kop TV, Saif, who's a friend with Welford as well. So, you know, he's given him the vouch, and there he is in his Liverpool coat. Love that, mate.
Thank you.
Saif, welcome to the channel. I wish we were welcoming you to a 3 points to a win. I mean, as Sak here says, you've got to like the vid, of course. You can't like that performance though, Saif. Awful, abysmal, shite.
I think that's the best way to put it. It was so painful to watch. You know, after that West Ham game and after the Spurs game, you just thought that our luck was turning around, and we were changing the way we were playing a little bit, playing with a bit more enthusiasm, a bit more courage as well. But today just felt like we went back to late December, early January, where it just seemed like we couldn't do anything. All they were doing was dropping their defence deep, not let us behind the back, and we're just stuck for ideas. 90 minutes off it, so painful to watch.
It's just awful. I mean, Darren, the lack of action up front, and it's so weird. We're basically hypocrites, because how can we play such attacking open football against West Ham, against Tottenham, and then the one place where you think, oh, actually, now we've had 2 really tough games, we've come through them unscathed. Now it's a time when maybe this will be an easy game. We're at home, we're playing against a team in the bottom 6. Why is that difficult for us, Darren? What is it that is stopping us beating these teams at Anfield?
It's hard to say exactly what it is, and I'd imagine it's a variety of different things. But I know, look, having no fans is something that we've strived on for a long time. Missing them, we've seen since the start of the season that when we played Leeds, the first game of the season, that the intensity and that energy wasn't there without the fans. But look, I mean, we played games at home this season and away from home where we've been very good. We had that intensity, that energy. We had a bit more motivation, enthusiasm. We imposed ourselves better. But tonight, and Burnley at home, West Brom at home, we didn't do any of that. Away to Southampton, and all that was just missing. It's like the players, it's a psychological barrier at the moment where they're overanalyzing, overthinking it, probably not just doing that first time pass, probably not making that first time move. They're just holding it a bit longer. On corner set pieces, we're very, very poor. We have been for a long time, but we're more exposed now because that's something that we're relying on heavily when a ball goes out. Like when we get a corner now, I'm thinking just give it back to them, because we're not going to get that now. But when we get a free kick, I'm not overly confident. We've seen Trent away at Spurs, away at West Ham. He was brilliant back to himself tonight. Not so good, reminiscing, as I said, to the games against West Brom, Burnley at home. Usually disappointing, very toothless in front of goal. A lot of getting the ball in the box and taking too many touches and going down, looking for decisions on penalties or free kicks outside the box and not quite getting them. Very, very frustrating. We've seen very agitated, very just nowhere near ourselves. And as I said, it seems to be psychological now. Are we overanalyzing? Are we just thinking too much? Is it having no fans? Is all this? Is it because City played earlier, they went 7 clear? Are we overthinking these things? And I think there is some psychological aspect of it there, Alex, and that's not an excuse. That's for me watching that today, that 90 minutes, I just felt it's just something not quite right there. And we're having a lot of the ball, we're making a lot of the right decisions to go forward, but when we get it in the final third, we're just lacking, and we're not taking on shots when we're supposed to. Ox comes on, he's pinging balls from miles out. It's gone well over. We're not walking the keeper. It's usually frustrating as a fan to see that, and going to Anfield a lot and being there with the atmosphere and seeing how heavily relied upon the 12th man is, the Kop named after the Kop TV. It's it is badly missed as well, and look, it might be an excuse, but there's one place that the fans make a difference in anywhere in Europe and world football. It is Anfield. Whether that's an excuse or not, who knows? But it's going to have some factor on it. Absolutely, we are missing that X factor.
Yeah, Welford, AJ here says it's simple. Klopp's tactics have been sussed, and he hasn't been proactive enough to change them to give us the best possible chance to win the game. I mean, I've seen some tweets just coming in after the game. A friend of the show, Grizz Khan, says the best team won. Brighton were class from start to finish. Potter is a top coach who isn't afraid to make his team play good attacking football. Liverpool were woeful, lackluster, and totally devoid of ideas. And this is the key bit. He says, league title, over. But the battle for the top 4 isn't over. Do you agree, Welford?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like tonight is just a proper, like, bit of a downer. I feel like I think everyone has got the feeling of it's well over now. Miracles do happen, especially with this football club. But honest to God, I totally agree with what Darren said just the past like 5 minutes. But tonight is not a way we can go, oh, well, if we had Van Dijk in the back, oh, well, if Edison was in the midfield, if this, if that. It's just, you can't do that. Graham Potter got everything right. And as AJ said before, it's just so easy now in Liverpool. We all know how I could set a team out tomorrow night to go to Anfield and I could easily get a point. It's so easy to do. And especially teams like Brighton, Burnley, who've got big, solid centre half. They're just pushing Salah, Shaqiri, Firmino, pushing them off the ball. It's just so easy. And the thing that is proper, like, confusing about this thing is, AJ said it again, or I don't know who said it before, like, we'll play City on Saturday and probably beat them like 3-1 or something, and it'll be their comfortable game, and then everyone will be like, title race is back on, and someone said it again, it'll paper over the cracks, but it's just so easy if you come to Anfield and don't get a point at least, it's a bit disappointing from the outside world. It's just like, it's so easy. You've got nothing, and we've all been saying it, like, oh, Thiago, he could find that pass when teams sit deep. He hasn't done anything. Like, the player I seen playing for Bayern in that Champions League every week was just phenomenal. Now he's came here. Okay, he's probably been the best player on the pitch for the past couple of games, but it's just shocking. You can't blame anything. And for me, if I was Klopp, I would have made some big changes in that first half. I would have brought Davies on for Shaqiri, put Henderson in midfield, let Thiago do what he wants further up the pitch where we know he can be a lot more useful as he has been earlier on in his career. But tonight was just a shocking performance. You cannot blame anything. You cannot blame injuries. You cannot blame anything. That was just a general shit performance by Liverpool. And that league is well over. Like, nothing's happening now. No matter if we go on another 7-win streak, City are not dropping points. Maybe they might lose to us on Saturday, but who else is taking points off them? And then we've got Leicester, Everton, Leipzig, which could all just absolutely have us. So, to be fair, there's no hope coming from my end. I think it's well over. And top 4 is even going to be a struggle. So many teams are picking up points. Villa, we know, lost today, but they've been ridiculous all season. Chelsea, they've Thomas Tuchel, he can do something magic there. So, for me, we'd be lucky to get top 4 in this rate. And God help us on Saturday, in my opinion.
I think it's on Sunday, the game against City. Sunday. But Saif, I mean, everything that Welford's just said there, for me, I can't disagree with anything that he said. Is the title race totally over now for Liverpool? Have we lost our grip on retaining the Premier League?
More ambitious than I think most Liverpool fans. And I think, like, seeing what we did against Barcelona, seeing us win the league and everything has given me, like, that ambition and belief that we can achieve something. And up till today, I would have said, yeah, the title race is still on, but if our what was meant to be like our next winning run lasted only 2 games, and that's against not massive teams, all right, Tottenham, yeah, but it was all a build-up, and it could have worked out perfectly if we won today. That game against City, we're 7 points off them now. If we went to play against them and beat them, and we won today's game, we would have been a point behind them, and we would have been right in the title race and everything. And like Welford said, that we look weak, we look small, we look beaten before we
to beat. Yeah.
And the
thing is, challenge anymore, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, I feel like people aren't going into challenges with belief that they're going to come out of them. A 50-50 is no longer a 50-50 with us anymore, because we just don't feel like we're going to win it. So let's not go for it. And I feel when 11 players on the pitch have that mentality, we're not going to achieve anything. It doesn't matter how technically good we are as a team. And it's all bad in the Premier League, and it's only going to get worse in the Champions League when you've got these other big teams from around Europe who see us come onto that pitch already beaten without that mentality we had last season. The difference between this season and last season massively is last season we walked onto the pitch and we had won the game before we even walked out of that tunnel. Whereas this season, like, you just don't know what's going to happen, and it's hard to watch. And I don't know what needs to be changed, but everyone's looking for some sort of scapegoat at the moment. I've seen a lot of people try to attack Origi, a lot of people trying to attack Klopp, but we're 11 players we're an 11-player team with Klopp 12, and it's not just down to one person. There's a lot of problems going on at the moment, and we need to start sussing them out. I think if we can get Ben Davies on the pitch, hopefully Jota will be back soon. If we can start seeing some changes, we really miss Mane today. But if we can start seeing some changes, I mean, our race will be the top 4, but not the title race, unfortunately.
Darren, let's get into the player ratings. I mean, no one's going to get great marks tonight at all. And then after that, we will look ahead to the City game and how we could maybe line up for that one. I agree with everything Saif just said there. As well as Mane, I think Fabinho was such a big miss tonight as well. And it was a shame that Klopp didn't really act on the lack of activity through the midfield to the final third in the first half. He really, in my opinion, could have brought on Davis. I know he wouldn't have made, the ideal debut. One, with no fans, but two, to come on at half time 0-0 at the time against Brighton. It wouldn't have been your ideal debut, but if he'd have come on, Henderson could have sped things up. You never know. But Darren, we're going to start with Kelleher. I mean, again, all of us were debating all day in the WhatsApp group whether Alisson would be around or not. A lot of chat about an injury. Was it COVID? Was it illness? It looks like he'll only miss the one game, but the Irish Casillas came in. Quiveen, Kelleher. Darren, what number are you going to give him? I mean, let's face it as well. The goal that they scored, it wasn't even a shot. It was a deflection off.
It was going. It wasn't even going in anyway. If that Trossard's not there, that's going well out there.
Yeah, Darren, what number are we giving for Kelleher? And he seems to have frozen. The old McDonald's Wi-Fi playing
back
up.
On
no,
there,
he's back.
Yeah, I'm back. We call it Supermax Wi-Fi here. No, it's he hadn't got a lot to do. Had he the goal come in, there wasn't a lot he could do. It was a deflection. I think he done okay, Kelleher. I'd give him a 6 because he was on a losing team. Very little for him to do. He came out once or twice out of the box, done okay. Suppose it's difficult for him. He's played a handful of games for us, so
he's the best player on the pitch.
6, yeah.
He's the only one I can say well in. That's the only pitch I'd give an high 5 to if I was Klopp. The others can walk home.
So 6 for Kelleher.
Darren's bang on 6. He had nothing
6 for Kelleher, yeah.
Give him anything lower, but you can't give him anything higher because literally had nothing to do.
Trent, I mean, again, I can't single out one player, maybe apart from Kelleher and Nat Phillips. Genuinely, he played well, but
5.
We'll give Trent a 5. I don't think he deserves any more than that. I mean, Henderson playing out of position again. We just need him in the midfield so much. Exactly, didn't do anything wrong, but nothing good.
I give him 6. I give both of them because
I'd say the wing backs 5 tonight, centre back 6. Does that make sense?
Robertson was poor as well.
Nothing over a 6 there. In the midfield, obviously Milner started again. Looked like he was injured in the first kind of 5 minutes that he might have had to have come off. No more than a 5 for him tonight, maybe less.
He didn't do anything, give any impact in the game. So
I'd give him a 4 because how good he's been. He's been the best. He's probably been one of our best players in Spurs and West Ham, and he just looked out of it. I feel like for a player of his age, he just needed a bit of a break. I think he'd give all his all in the last 2 games, and he just looked knackered and just didn't look like he didn't want to be on that pitch today. But yeah, it's been like a 4 for me.
4 more than LFC Opinion TV is given Milner tonight. A 0 for him. We'll go with the 4 for Milner, also starting in midfield tonight. Gini Wijnaldum. Now, this is one game maybe where I actually go, Gini didn't have a good game tonight. He got booked as well. First booking of the season, Saif. What number would you give him?
5 as well. The thing is, I expect so much more from him. I'm a massive fan of Gini, but today he was just lethargic around him. Usually he gives everyone around him a bit more energy, but that was lacking today as well. So yeah, 5. And that's
Sorry, so what I'll say there about Gini is week in, week out, he's played some incredible amount of games this season, put some shifts in, very robotic midfielder. He's played a lot of games as well for Holland, so he's had very little rest this season. So I think we'll let him away with a once off. I think because it's going to happen, But no one stood up to it. Yeah, but tonight was a night where he needed someone to step up in his position and give him a help out and give him that bit of G on, but it didn't happen. So it was what it was, I suppose.
Also in the midfield tonight was Thiago. Welford touched on him tonight. I mean, Listen, Thiago is clearly our best player, right? It's not even up for a debate. But there were times tonight where I found myself going, "Oh, for fuck's sake, Thiago is giving it away."
Yeah.
He was
He
poor
wants to
tonight.
he wants to do everything like dead good. Like, honest to God, I love him. As you said, he's the best player on the pitch. We got to be honest with ourselves. Did he do anything good tonight? No. Did he give the ball away a lot of times? Yeah. Did he pass it a lot slower than he could have? Yeah. He literally gets the ball, just step overs, and then looks up and goes, "Oh, I'm not gonna give it you. But I'm not gonna give it you. Oh, I'll give it to you." Then it takes about 5 minutes to get the ball. Just do your step overs and give the ball. It's just stupid. And I feel like for me, he's no good being your box to box or defending. He needs to be behind Shaqiri. He needs to be as tight to that front line as he physically can, because he's the one that can, like the free kick. How good was that dink over there? Which Firmino should have scored, should I say? But yeah, he was shocking tonight in 4. But yeah, I do love the lad, but he was poor today. He just needs to bit of urgency sometimes. When you're 1-0 down, you need to get at least one goal. He just it just pisses about all the time, doing step overs. Just give the ball straight away. But yeah, I'd give him a 4.
4, Darren.
Yeah, he was slow tonight. Overanalyzed the game. Didn't give that first pass or that first ball that he's seen. And yeah, I think so. Yeah, definitely. Wasn't impressed from tonight, but I can't say that I was about anybody.
Saif, obviously, Mo Salah had that chance kind of 2 minutes in, looked sharp in the first 5 minutes, had a couple half chances towards the end of the game. Again, he knows that he should have scored 1, if not 2 tonight. Even with those half chances, you could tell he wasn't happy with himself.
Look, for me, it's a straight 5, nothing more, nothing less. And I feel like it's not necessarily his fault. He's not being brought into the game enough. We know what he's capable of. He can run at defenders, get through them. And I think it goes back to something like Thiago. He's not playing the passes into Salah for him to do anything. Firmino, we'll get onto him in a sec, but he's a bit slow and not giving Salah the passes or the delivery that he usually gives him. And you can't expect the world from Salah, even though he can deliver the world. But it's not fair to drop Salah's rating all the way down to a 3 or a 4, even though it may have seemed like that today. But we need to bring him more into the game and let him play free what he's capable of doing. But yeah, that's a 5 from me.
Yeah.
And then obviously Divock Origi Bobby came in for Origi tonight. Poor again from Origi, I have to admit. I mean,
he's gone him. He needs an holiday in for a couple of weeks, in my opinion. Like, honest to God, that's just the first 10 minutes. The amount of time, I agree with him. The amount of times his first touch was off, and like you'd see him sprinting back to the edge of our box trying to get the ball back. Like, we're not asking you to be as good as you have been. We just want you to like do the simple bits, which we know how good his touch is. We know how good he can bring players into the game. And he had I think he had a half decent chance in the second half where he took on Gross and Basuma and Topo. There was a good block by Dunk, but he was awful today. Just like so slow, and he just looked a bit like, oh, can I be bothered? And like, I just feel like for me he was poor, and he could do with a break. You could do with like when Jota came in and he was having a rough patch. Jota came in, he was on the bench for a couple of games, and just to get his mind back in the right place and realise that maybe he's having. Okay, I totally agree. He was boss at Tottenham and was my man of the match, but it just today he just looked like he couldn't be bothered. It's just like, and I'd give him a 3.
Yeah.
I just don't think he was good at all.
3 for Bobby. Saif, do you agree with that one?
Yeah, I mean, last season Bobby was like a pit bull. He used to chase down defenders anytime they had the ball and not give them.
Yeah, he doesn't press anymore.
And literally, I can't even think of 1 second today in the game where he was chasing down the ball. He did it once against West Ham, and today I didn't see it at all. And I'll be honest, it's a 2.5 to a 3 for me. Wow. Very hard to take, because he's one of my favourites, but
I mean, this performance, lads, rounds off a period where we have failed to score in 3 home games in a row for the first time since October 1984. 348 minutes that we have not scored at home. Jurgen Klopp said we could have and should have done better. We looked mentally not fresh, physically not fresh. They deserve to win, but we should have done better. They came through and we didn't. That's a fact. Their goal was a situation where everybody was on the second post. I mean, listen, Shaqiri, he doesn't get any more than a 4. He was awful tonight, and we can finish it there. But if we were to give Klopp a rating tonight, lads, I mean, a couple of things for me. I think made the wrong substitutions. Should have left on Firmino, to be honest. Bringing on Origi for me wasn't the one. I mean, you kind of are forced into that when you're 1-0 down with 15 minutes to go. I understand why he did it. but again, nothing offered from there. But it's his comments after the game for me. I mean, we all thought that the Burnley home loss, the home defeat, was a complete anomaly. It's obviously not, and because it's happened again tonight. What does Klopp do now to? Because, like Welford said, we could easily beat City 3-1 on Sunday, but it's not about the City game. It's not about that now for me. Let's forget that game on Sunday. It's about when we go now and have a team like, I mean, who has come to Anfield in the bottom six that we've put away? I don't think anyone this season.
No,
If you're Jurgen Klopp now,
Leeds.
That we just about beat them.
That's it.
Yeah.
Welford, if you're Jurgen Klopp now, what do you say? What do you do to get things back to how they were? Because this, I'm sorry, this is awful. It's painful to watch.
Well, for me, it physically can't get any worse than tonight. So the first thing I'd do, them two new centre half, they've both, I know they're quite young, but they've both had a lot of games. They both played in a lot of big games. Both of them had so much experience. Get them in straight away. I don't care if Fabinho's fit, maybe, but for me, Henderson needs to be back in that midfield because he's just got the tempo. And Milner, Wijnaldum, Thiago, yeah, they're all great and they're all been great over the past 2 weeks. Not tonight, none of them were, but they're not as good as covering Trent and Robbo as Henderson is. They're not good as sitting in front of that back four. And I feel like for me, that's the first move. Put them two at the back, the centre half. They know what they're doing. They make mistakes. They do, and I couldn't care less because it can't get any worse than tonight. And for me, Henderson needs to be back in that midfield, and you just need Sutton. For me, City isn't a problem. It's, as you said, it's the games after that. We've got Everton, which will probably sit back. Leicester might not, but it's the teams like these when we're going away. We've still got a lot of teams to face like them. We've still got like Southampton at home to play. We've still got so many bottom six teams. We've got Fulham at home, which are going to do the exact same. So you need to get on that training pitch and just think of something new, maybe a new formation, new tactics, and new players in different positions. I think for me, the two things I'd do is, well, the three things is the new centre halves, they need to be starting against City or whenever. I'm not bothered if they're not fit, or both of them. Get them both in, I don't care, because it can't be any worse than tonight. Henderson back in the midfield, holding, and Thiago needs to play a bit further up. Maybe not, I'm not saying like play the diamond again, just in the three in midfield, Henderson sit back, then have Wijnaldum, and then just let him go a little bit further up, because for me, when we got the most out of him was Tottenham, when he was like 4-4-2. He was like pressing with Bobby. You know what I mean? He'd join Bobby with the press, and he'd go, if Bobby went to Rondon, he'd go to like Alderweireld or Die. You know what I mean? I feel like for me, Thiago needs to be playing a lot higher up, and Henderson needs to be back in that midfield ASAP, because every time he doesn't play in that midfield, just a bit of a lack of empathy and getting the ball forward faster. And he moves it so quick now. He knows he's been in the team where he's being called a crab. He just passes it left and right backwards. He's improved so much for me. He's just the one that controls it, the tempo, and like the games we've lost other than tonight, the Southampton game, the Villa game, he hadn't played in any of them. And it shows you how much we miss him in the middle of the park. And these two centre-half, they know how to play football, they know how to defend, because that's what they've done for the last 3 years of their career. So for me, that's what you do with your Klopp. And you need a new tactic or something when you play against teams that sit back this deep. City will be fine. Just play how we did against West Ham and Tottenham, because they'll come at you. They'll leave Laporte and Diaz at their own. I know they're world-class centre-halves, but Salah can get at them too. Salah can get at anyone. But it's just the teams, like you said, after City is the bigger problem, not City, because I feel like we beat them, and that's the worrying thing. We're going in more confident against City than we will be going into Fulham at home in a couple of weeks. So yeah, that's what I'd do.
So Welford there saying Klopp needs to start both centre backs. Huge game against Man City on Sunday. What kind of changes do you think that there will be? I'll ask Darren the same question for Sunday. I mean, obviously we're looking at potentially having Mane back, potentially Alisson back, potentially Fabinho back.
Yeah, I mean, firstly, I think it would be a bit, no offence to Walford, but it would be a bit irrational to bring in the two new centre-backs.
I don't care, I mean, can't get any worse than tonight. Couldn't get any worse tonight. Play anyone.
Look, you're taking two players, yeah? Look, one of them's come from Preston. He hasn't even played at the Premier League level before. And you want to throw him into a game where we're playing against Man City, who are top of the table, and killing it with form, absolutely murking it. But
13 wins in a row.
Them into a game like that and not expect them to make mistakes. And it's not only the actual game itself, but it's the pressure of the fans making their debut in a game like that. I think you're asking for mistakes to be made. And I know that we're struggling from the back, and we want to do whatever we can to get Henderson out of centre back. Look, he's done phenomenal there, but like you were saying, like if we can get Henderson out of the centre back, and get him into midfield. I don't think it's his technical ability that's going to help us, but it's the motivation he brings to the team, and he makes sure everyone around him is working with his quick passes, his aggression, and chasing up like their defenders, like Walford was saying. But I think bringing 2 new centre backs in for that game would be a bit of a risky decision to make. I think Curtis Jones needs to be in the question for the starting lineup. He made a difference against West Ham, and he could make a big difference against Man City as well.
Yeah, interesting there from Saif. Darren, we play City on Sunday. No win at Anfield since 2003. There was no win tonight for 39 years since Burnley came. But look, that record got overturned. Things aren't looking good, Darren. And I know you're ever the optimist, and people do maybe give you some stick on this channel for being so positive.
Darren,
but I mean,
you've
admitted tonight, Darren, that the title race is over.
Yes.
I mean, what is there really to be positive about? City coming to Anfield on Sunday, and if they win, that'll be their first win, in almost 20 years. We're just giving out wins for fun, Darren.
Yeah, we are. And look, lads, realistically, we're in a bad situation. There's nothing to be positive about at the moment. Absolutely nothing. I mean, we brought in 2 centre-backs. Yes, okay, it was positive that you can get Fabinho and Henderson to midfield, but the chances are they're not going to be starting, as Saif said, against it. And I can understand Welford and Saif's 2 very good points, controversial with each other. I like it, but look, I can understand it. But traditionally, when I went to games, big games at Anfield, Alex, whoever I was with, whatever position Liverpool were in over the years, we always delivered. We always done well in the big games, especially at Anfield. It was a game where I remember going to games before where we were trashed. I think it was 2005 season. We were beaten against Palace. We were beaten against Birmingham that season away. And then at Anfield, we beat the big teams in the big games at home. And that's just something we always do. Traditionally, we've always done it. This season, BT Sport were right. We struggle against the strugglers this season. And that's just how it is. You know what I mean? And Welford's right. We've a lot of the strugglers, bottom sides, coming to Anfield that are just going to look and say, well, look what Burnley done. Look what Brighton done. Yeah. Let's go. Let's be well drilled. Let's be organised. Let's be physical. Let's frustrate them. And teams, when they come to Anfield, if you can weather that storm and if you can get the crowd quiet and you can get through that particularly first 20 to 30 minutes, you've always a chance at Anfield. And what happened today was the longer the game went on, the longer we were frustrated, they got a chance. It was like when we played United at home, we should have been cleared them in the first 30 minutes. The longer the game went on, they had chances and they just weren't clinical enough. And traditionally, as I said, we always beat the top teams, the big sides. Are we out of the title race? Absolutely. We've given ourselves far too much work to do. But you know what, lads? As strange and as mad as the season it's been, and it's been a roller coaster. It's been the weirdest, strangest Premier League season I've ever seen in all my life. We're still not going to come back and win it, but we could go on a run of still winning a couple of games. You know what I mean? You just don't know what way it's going to go. Like, I do fancy us to beat City, not because I'm being positive, but I'm being realistic. As you said, Alex, 18 years since they won. They'll come, they'll impose themselves. We'll have that intensity. We'll be on the front foot. We'll have that energy. If we start Curtis Jones, if we just implement a few changes, there's not a lot that Jurgen can do other than regroup the players, because the players know they're at fault. The players know what they need to do right. But it's a lot easier said than done. What Jurgen Klopp going to tell them that they don't know? Maybe he does need to tell them something or do something with them that they don't know. Or maybe, these reality checks for us sometimes are no harm, but they happen far too often. We've now lost 2 games at Anfield, haven't scored, struggle against the strugglers. It's just not good enough. And is there room to be positive at the moment? No. But if we beat City the weekend, will we be all happy after it? We might be, but we still know we're not going to win back-to-back titles this season because we've given ourselves so much work. So it's still going to be frustrating either way, but we're playing now to just secure as high a position we can, try and go as far and do as well as we can the Champions League this season. And let's just see what comes out of it. You know what I mean? Because what else can we do?
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. Welford, your final thoughts on this evening? Another defeat for Liverpool. Over 350 minutes since we've scored at Anfield. I mean, it's hard to end the show on a positive note when there isn't any positive.
There's no positive, and there's no positives when Darren hasn't mentioned one positive thing the whole show. So no one can say that. But the thing that is really doing my head the most is we won the league last year by how many points? Like nearly 20 points. Yeah. We were going into the game, as you said, and before the game kicked off, everyone would go, "Oh yeah, it's easy win for that Liverpool." And I've never been so confident, never watched a team to dominate so many games. Okay, you might have had the odd scare or so throughout the league, but when we were still in the league, I'd say till mid-January, and then after we beat United at home, I think we all kind of knew we'd win it. We were like 18 points clear, and obviously had some slip-ups, but we'd already technically won the league, like Watford and City, but we'd already won it. That's the thing that really does make the thing is, and the thing is, like, if you look at the team that was, especially Burnley, I know we had Alisson and the odd player out today, but if you look at Burnley at home, that team we put out, other than Van Dijk and maybe Gomez at the back, and then you put Henderson in midfield, that is our strongest team. You cannot blame injuries. We had no Jota last year, had no Thiago last year. We won the league by 20 points. That team that was out tonight in Burnley was near enough that team without Virgil van Dijk. And all of us sat here could not say, I know Van Dijk is one of the best players Liverpool have ever had, especially defensive-wise. But if you took Van Dijk out that team last year, we'd still probably have won that league. Maybe not by so many points, but we still would have won it. So I don't know what's up with them this year. I know it's a mad league. People are getting injuries left, right, and centre. But if you look at the team over the past couple of weeks, it's been the strongest team we physically have available. So you cannot go around blaming it on, oh yeah, but Van Dijk's out. Well, who cares if Van Dijk's out? It's still the strongest team, and 10 other players can still get a couple of wins. And to win the league, I know. But the thing that also is mad, and City retained the title a couple of years ago. They had De Bruyne out for most of the season. They had Otamendi playing at the back, and they had no left back. And they still managed to retain the title and get 98 points. So for me, it's not, you can't, okay, I totally agree. Some of the results you can say when we've had like Kelleher playing, Nat Phillips, I understand he's only played like a couple of games of football. He was going to look at a college in America the other week. But I just like, for me, you can't start sitting here going, oh, well, Van Dijk's out. Oh, well, we've got a young lad playing at the back and in net. It's not good enough. You have to be beating these games. And I said after West Ham, if you win this game now, you've got a massive chance. As you said, if you win tonight, which we all thought we would, and we beat City, we're 1 point behind them. We probably go second because we know United can drop points. To be 1 point behind City with the situation we've had, which I know I've just not said to blame, but you know what I mean. Tonight was massive, and we had to win tonight, and we haven't. And as Darren said, we're completely out of it. And I'm sorry if people still think we can win it. I'd love to support you, but for me, we're well out of it. And when Darren's saying stuff like that, you know it's true. And it's just today and the past couple of weeks, it's been up and down. But the only thing that's going to change my mind, if you get 9 points out of City, Everton and Leicester, I might hold my hands up and say, here we go. Yeah. But I just can't see City dropping points. The only place to drop points is on Sunday, and they probably will. But other than that, they are not getting beat by anyone else. No one, not at all. So it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
But
there you go. Welford's thoughts at the end of the show. I want all of you to answer this question with one word. Saif, I'll come to you first. Whose fault is it? The players or the manager? One word.
Put me on the spot.
That's hard, that Alex. Jesus Christ.
Manager.
Darren?
Players.
Well?
Players.
Wow, Saif on his debut with an absolute huge shout.
Very controversial.
Some games it is thing, you know, because I feel like tonight Klopp did play a massive part for me, and you said, Alex, I would have brought Shaqiri off, Henderson midfield, Davies at the back, like because he's played 250 games or something for precedent. I know, Darren, you said it is different style of football. There's a lot harder. You can be making mistakes, but for me, you're 0-0 to Brighton. This game is one of the biggest games you've had in a long time. If we win tonight, we can go so close to City. We're right on the tail, and I think Klopp bottled at me, and I feel like for me, if even if he does make the change and we do lose, then he can hold his hand up and say he made a mistake. But if he brings that change on and we end up winning the game comfortably or getting the 3 points, we'll be sat here and we'll all be going, we'll vote for City, we're going to be back in it. And but today was the biggest Tottenham in my opinion. And I said after West Ham, we had to come here and win. We had to win tonight. And it was probably the easiest game we've had over the past 3 games. For me, I didn't think we beat Tottenham. I didn't think we beat West Ham, and we went on a ridiculous run, and we played very, very well. Tonight was nothing like that. Tonight was like late December, early January. But
exactly. But my opinion onto why I put it down to the manager's fault is football's not the 90 minutes on the pitch. It's everything that happens around it as well. And you saw the way we came out against West Ham, like we wanted to win the game, especially in that second half. Even against United in the FA Cup, we came out with a bit more enthusiasm. And we're a team that struggles against struggling teams. And we beat the better teams. And it's all coming down to the mentality that we walk out onto the pitch with. And I think a lot of that comes down to how Klopp obviously explains it to the rest of the team, how he prepares them for the match and everything like that. And I feel mainly this season, it's the way we walk out onto the pitch is where our defeat is. Like after Salah's miss, that was it. The game was finished. Because if we scored a goal, we were winning like 4-5-0. But because we didn't score that goal, that was it. That was our opportunity gone. The mentality's dead. And I mean, I'm not the sort of blame Klopp. Like I've said it before, my mum, my dad, I love them, but Klopp's up there with them. I know, like, I'm eating
Yeah, and no, that's a good point. So even the only reason why I say the players is because they go over that white line, they come to Anfield, they know what it's about, they know the traditions, who they're playing for, what they're representing, they know how to express themselves, they have that experience now. And tonight they just didn't do that, and you didn't really like. It again proves how good Jordan Henderson is for us, how influential he is, how underrated of a player he is to amongst a lot of neutrals and other rival fans, that he is absolutely exceptional. And when he's not the influence in that midfield, because he is so influential, he makes us tick, he does all the right things. You see him, how much he G's the players up, how much of a hold he has in the centre of the park, particularly in front of the back forward of that holding role. We badly missed him, we badly missed Fabinho in there. And I know, like Welford saying, like, we didn't miss so much other players tonight, and we didn't, there's no excuses. But there's a lot of games this season that I've seen where we drop points, where not having the lads in midfield has come back and cost us, and not having Van Dijk up for aerial duels, not having his presence, even in the dressing room, wasn't it? Troy Deeney says the banger 1 million's off. Imagine being next to Van Dijk and smelling that, and he's off, and he looks great, and you know what I mean. And he has that presence.
I do agree with
and
that,
so all these little things, it's a psychological factor, and that's why. The psychological factor, it's what's Liverpool are missing, that X factor. It's what's in them. It's just that little barrier. It's only a small thing. It might be 5-10%, but it can make a huge difference. And it's like we're coming to Anfield now. We know we haven't scored, and boy, we lost the record there, and all of a sudden it's like it's just different territory to us. And that's why I blame the players, because there's only so much Klopp can do, and they owe him as much as he owes them. Do you know what I mean? So they need to put on a performance, to give him something to smile about, get the pearly whites out again. But look, it is what it is, lads. And I'm still, it sounds mad, I'm not being positive tonight, but I'm positive about Sunday for the reasons what I've named.
I think we're all saying that. I mean, Cameron here says Klopp says it's fatigue, and I think that is a valid shout considering the season. But listen, lads, I'm going to leave it there just because I know we could be here all night. Welford, I know you've got more stuff to say, bro. So save it for Sunday. Hopefully it's a win. Saeed, thank you so much for coming on, mate. Really appreciate it. Definitely have you back on. Really intelligent lad there. So go and follow him if you can as well. What's your socials there, Saif? And you're a Liverpool YouTuber as well?
Yeah, just search the official Saif on YouTube, you'll find it.
There you go. Lovely stuff. Darren, Welford,
well done.
Saif, thank you, lads. Tomorrow on the channel, we will have a Kop to Bottom with myself and Doyle. We're also actually out tomorrow filming 2 brand new episodes of Kop Bins. So keep an eye out for that. Also, go and watch the last episode that we just put out with Few Izzy on the channel. Go and run that one up. And then on Friday, we have a City preview with Boovy, the big Man City fan. So looking forward to that. And of course, we'll be back on Sunday after the game around 6:30 with the post-match reaction show, where you will see the likes of Darren, the likes of Welford and Saif. Hopefully Doyle will be back. I know he's had a difficult week with this one. I know his one of his best friends unfortunately passed away this week, Doyle and Jack. So you know, huge shout out to those guys, and you know, rest in peace there to Ben as well, who's their Scouse best mate that has unfortunately passed away. So huge shout out to Doyle. We love you, mate. Come back soon.
Yeah, keep the head up, Doyle.
Of course.
Absolutely,
and listen, that's what we have to say to the players right now as well. Another abysmal performance from Liverpool on a night where the wind and rain fell down heavy on the Anfield turf, and I think Liverpool fans' tears almost outweighed the rain tonight that fell on the pitch. But lads, thank you so much for coming on. Another shocking performance, but hey, City on Sunday, we go again. Take care, lads.
Hey.
Later.
Well, there you go. Like I said it so many times, an abysmal performance, really, from Liverpool tonight. Big up to Jamie, who says his thoughts are with Doyle and his family and his friend, obviously. But yeah, shocking performance to Liverpool tonight. Absolutely abysmal. Shocking. Not good enough. We'll see you on Sunday for more of the same. Hopefully not.